everyone.
Oh, Anna, if you notice a video, like just prior to this class that was recorded, you could just delete.
All right, please stand up. And I am putting everybody on mute just for now, but if you have questions, then feel free to unmute yourselves and just ask your question. All right. First, just start to bounce at your ankles, bend your knees just slightly, shake your arms down. Take a big deep breath in through your nose, raise your arms up and shake them out. Big exhale, let your arms drop down. Again, raising arms up, shake them up. Exhale, let them down. Okay, separate your feet just a little bit more than hips distance. Start to shift your weight from side to side, lifting and spreading your toes to try to grab that as much of the ground underneath you as possible, really starting to build that conversation between you and where you're at with your connection to the ground. Taking knee towards toes, knee towards toes. Hug your belly to your spine. Really just squeeze your muscles towards your spine. That way you can shift your shoulders back on top of your hips. See if you can allow your arms to move a little bit more because the rest of your body's moving after that. And bring your arms up to the bottom of your rib cage, fingertips facing each other, thumbs pointing in towards your chest. And as you shift from one side to the other, just start to bring your hands in front, shifting from side to side. And then once you get all the way to the edge, lift both hands up, circle all the way around. And then switch directions each time. See if you can time it out with your breath where you raise your arms on the inhale. Exhale across your center. Folding at the waist, lower the arms all the way down to the ground. Same big shift between the legs, making a big circle with the arms. And switch directions each time. Next time your hands are up, stop through center, take a big reach back. Stand all the way up, let your arms go out to the side. Big exhale down. Return them to your center, shake everything out. Okay, inhale up. Elbows out to the side, shoulder blades on your back. Exhale, hands out to the side, back to your center. Okay, this time turning your heels a little bit in towards the midline. So whenever you bend your knees, they're going towards your toes. Ready? Inhale, cut arms up, elbows out to the side. Start to bend your knees, bend your knees, bend your knees. Bring your hands back to center. Shake everything out. Inhale up. Exhale down. Again. Okay. Bring your knees together. Make some big circles. Switch directions. Okay, then taking your knees forward, start to lean away from the midline, lean a little bit further into your hip and low back. Other side. Other side. Okay. Separate your feet at hips distance. Again, lifting and spreading your toes. From here, you're going to lower the torso forward. Exhale all the way down. Surrender the weight of your head and arms. As you start to go towards straightening your legs, lift your hips up, hug your belly to your spine, and roll up from the lowest back, letting the head and arms hang. Inhale all the way up through center, allowing the arms to drop to the sides, thumbs out to the sides. And then exhale completely all the way, fold forward and down again. Inhale up. Exhale back down. One more time, inhale up. And then stay standing once you get all the way up top. Shake your arms out one more time. Okay, from here, let's drop all the way down. And again, I'm going to be moving my camera around just to give you guys a different perspective so you can see what I'm doing, but drop all the way down onto the ground. Okay. So from here, go through a wide angle with your legs. Try to keep it a distance between your feet where you can still keep your torso upright, keeping the shoulders leaning in between the legs a little bit more. Place your hands on top of your thighs and then press your hands into your thighs as you make some big circles with your shoulders. Flex and flare your toes. Switch directions. Okay. Keeping the bottoms of your legs down, really let them catch onto the ground and connect. Take both this knife blade edge of your hand, we'll call it take a katana, like it's literally a knife blade edge, right? Drop it down right in front. Start to lean forward, letting your legs and feet stay where they're at, and then lift up. Elbows out to the side, shoulder blades on your back. Exhale all the way out. Lean forward, cut up. Elbows out to the side. Hands out to the side, exhale. One more time. Okay, this is a quick inhale through your nose and exhale through your nose. You're going to lift up from the center, turn from the lower ribs towards one leg, and let the arms drop down, right? This is a Kokyu motion. It's moving your breath power, basically. So inhale up, and as you exhale, you're going to squeeze your stomach muscles to really get all the rest of your breath out. So it ends up looking like, okay, go. Good, then stop through center, raise both arms up, look up, turn towards one leg, and then slowly reach out, up, and over towards the foot, nose towards your knee. Okay, walk your hands down the sides of your leg to bring you back to center. Other side. Reaching all the way up in the center, look up, turn towards the other extended leg, reaching out, up and over towards your toes, nose towards knee. Okay, walk your hands up the side of your leg to help come back towards center. Leaning your torso down in the middle, hands out to the feet. Bring your hands underneath the torso and walk yourself back up. Arms out to the side here. Rotate, put opposite hand on opposite thigh, reach the other one up, look up at it, and then lean back. You might get a little bit more access here if you turn the thumb out, right? Right now, if the pinky side is up, turn the palm towards the ceiling. You can get a little bit further into your shoulder. Okay, inhale, come back to center, other side. Again, raise the other arm up, look up at it, and then reach back. Inhale back to center. Okay, now from here, bring both legs together, bend at the knees, drag your feet back closer to your hips, put your hands behind your hips. Here, you're gonna lift your hips up just a few inches, kick one leg out, and take the opposite ankle to the top of the back of the knee. Good. Now from here, you're just gonna rock side to side first. Stop through center, lift your hips up, switch out your legs, other side. Try to keep the foot flexed on the top, the one that's touching the knee that'll protect your bent knee, or the knee that's on top, rather. Good, stop through center, lift your hips up, let that leg come all the way down. Then bringing your feet straight out in front of you, move the flesh back, drag the legs back into the socket. Right? So really like drag it back, yeah. All right, from here, lift one foot with your hand and bring it in towards your chest. A couple times, kick it out. Right? Squeeze it into your chest just a little bit more, wrap your arms around, or if you just have your hands on, that's fine too. Just a little bit more ease into this. Don't force it if you're feeling any discomfort. And place the foot down right behind the knee. Now from here, taking the same side hand onto your ankle, using the opposite hand to make some big circles with your ankles. Go in both directions and also fold the toes forward, fold the toes back. Couple more circles. And then switch your hands, slide the same hand, same side hand down to the toes. Using your knuckles, iron out the bottom of your foot. And then make your hands into a little drum. Aid both hands onto the ankle, shake it out. and drop that side back down. Okay. Other side, drag the other leg back a little bit, grab onto the foot, just start to kind of ease into lifting it off the ground and getting it closer to your chest, and then slowly turn the ankle towards your chest, bringing it a little bit more. Okay, and then drop that side down. Okay, big circles with your ankles. And then fold the feet, or the toes, excuse me, bend them back and forth, just gently, just to get some extra stretch. Okay, take the same side hand to the toes, iron out the bottom. Good, use your drum hand. Good, both hands on your ankles, shake it out. Okay, now, changing your position again. Probably gonna keep doing this over and over. All right, from here, come back to Seiza. So you got feet underneath you, your back is straight. Okay, from here, we're gonna turn. You're really pushing off from the ground, moving your hips in order to turn, and let your arms just move because the rest of your body is moving. Okay. Stop through center, raise both arms up, cut down. One up, one down, with thumbs going to the top and out. Switch sides. Okay, circles back. Forward. And back. Very good. Shake your arms up. Shake everything down. Okay. And from here, you got one arm out in front. Cross it in front of your center with your thumb down. Using the other arm, wrap it on the outside of your elbow. You're going to get a different stretch if your thumb is up on the extended arm or if it's down on the extended arm. From here, widen your legs just a little bit more for support, and lifting and stretching the side body muscles. Lean away from that stretch. Try to surrender the weight of your head and see if you can get a little bit more ease back there too. Inhale, come back to center, other side. And again, leaning away from the stretch. Inhale, come back to center. Okay, bend your elbows and just make some circles backwards. And again, cutting arms up, elbows out to the side. Really try to soften in front of your collarbones. Bring everything down, shoulder blades on your back. Surrender the weight of your arms down. Okay, one more piece here. Taking your hand right out in front, using your other hand, just peel out and down with the wrist. Okay, other side. Palm up first, peeling out and down. Okay. And from here, shift your weight forward just a little bit, come up onto active toes, and then lean back into the soles of your feet. Make some big circles with your knees. Switch directions. Good. Now, lift yourself all the way back up to center and standing. You're doing a little bit more work with our wrists for this next part. So the first one is going to be thumb is down, right? So if you can see my palm right here, I'm flipping the thumb down. My next hand is going to be palm on the back of the hand here, with the thumb side, with the thumb hooking onto that teikatana, that pinky side edge, and the other fingers wrapping around the thumb here, okay? So now you're standing. You're gonna have one leg going out to, or the same direction as your eyes. One is the same toes, knee, front shoulder, and your eyes all in the same direction. Your back foot is at a 90-degree angle, right? So your back foot is sideways. And from here, when you shift your weight forward, you're going knee towards toes. Shift your weight back, you're going knee towards toes. So keeping your hand in that position, the front hand is the one that is in the grab right here. And as you shift your weight forward and in, elbows go to the side. And do this very, very slowly if this is new for you. You're cutting this in and turning the fingertips up. So in and up, in and up, in and up. Okay, those of you that are familiar with this, keep going. Chris, come a little bit closer to me so I can help you with the hand. All right, so from here, what it's gonna look like is a bend in the wrist. By the time you pull it back, it's gonna be bending and the elbows move in. Yes, be careful because this is a lot. So you're trying to twist this knife blade edge of your hand out and up towards your face. Yes, so relax both of your elbows, relax in the collarbones, and then you're shifting your weight into that as it moves into it, forward. There you go. Okay, shake that side down, other side. Okay, this is a wrist block called Nikyo. So again, if you see my palm right here, flip thumb down, hook that, the opposite thumb, right, on the hand that is approaching, is gonna be hooked. All the fingers grab the thumb on the bottom. And again, you're switching Han Mi, so now you're on the other side. You've got one leg forward, one leg sideways in the back. And as your elbows bend, you're cutting this up towards your face and in, 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 in. There you go, in. Keep going. Okay, Chris, one more time. Let go of your hands like this. You got it. Keep the front hand, thumb down, back hand, thumb up. Meet them together. And then you can wrap your fingers all the way around. Then bend your elbows. There you go. There you go. Go gentle, gentle, gentle. All right, shake everything out. Okay, next one is going to be elbow goes up, hand goes down. All right, so from here, it's turning down right in front of me. There you go. Now you're going to approach the other hand, shake your own hand. There you go. Now this pinky side edge is twisting underneath my arm, like all the way into my armpit, but go slow, please. You're reaching up and twisting it in. So taking this edge here in towards my midline. There you go. And then even try to relax in your shoulder, make some big circles here. And if you want to do this in Han Mi, right, you would be turning away from the midline, away from the midline, away from the midline, away from the midline, away from the midline. Okay, other side. Again, elbow up, thumb is facing to the outside, and I'm taking this pinky side edge and twisting it in towards my own rib cage. Ready? Off, twisting it to away from the midline. Good. All right, shake those out. Okay, drop all the way back down. From here, feet together, knees out to the side. And first off, just start to rock shoulder onto each knee. Surrender the weight of your head down. Big exhales. Other side. Other side. Other side. Okay, so I'm just turning so that you can see the side view. As soon as I get to knee down here, I'm going to trace this line as the knee is falling this time with that take-a-tana edge of my hand. Let the torso, let your ribs go on top of your knee, and then drop to the ground very slowly, just letting the shoulder replace where the knee is. And if you want to just do one side first and then bend your knees and come back up, just start one side first. Okay, so again, you're surrendering your weight down, arms, legs, and head off the ground, and then bend your knee and come back up to sitting. Very good, okay. Now, if you have enough room, make sure that you have enough room to travel in whichever direction that you're pointing. Slide all the way down, raise arms, head, and legs off the ground, and as soon as you get to the other side, bend your knees and come back up. There you go, very good. All right, slide all the way in. Exhale when your back touches the ground, bend your knees, come back up on the other side. Okay, so this is really like diving into water. You're surrendering your weight down. So good. Good. All right. So the category of movements that are approaching the ground, getting into this round shape and changing directions, they are called ukemi. And in Aikido, sometimes it's referenced that would be like the art of falling, but it's not just the art of falling, it's the art of having like a true response to whatever is going on, right? Whatever directional situation that your body, that your whole situation is being, you know, basically moved into, right? Right now, your variables that exist are furniture that's around you, gravity exists, it's going to take you to the ground. We got to figure out how to get you there safely, right? So being super round in this shape, I'm able to keep my head safe in this center position where I want to keep my nose and belly button in the same line. So as soon as you slide into this, you're sliding into this, you're keeping your head in that position where it's kind of in line with the center of your chest. And this would be used, right? This shape would be used if I was losing my balance from standing and getting pushed sideways, right? If something was coming towards me and I needed to approach the ground and I didn't have a chance to be this way where I would go over my shoulder, this would be taking me sideways and back up, right? So that's, I just wanted you to know where the next place that you would see this would be and why we're doing this in the first place, right? So this would be like if somebody's pushing towards me, dropping their weight on top of me this way, I would bear that weight on top, but then I would need to break away as they push through my center, right? And then back up. So if that was making this round shape on this plane, and then we tilt it. Now we're gonna go more towards the shoulder and the opposite hip, instead of going straight across the whole back. So from here, the first place that we're gonna do this is going backwards. So from here, if we were just in this position, I'm now going to tilt onto one hip. One knee is down, one knee is up. Bring those arms in front. Whenever you rock backwards, you're gonna exhale. Always exhale whenever your back is touching the ground, keeping your head slightly forward so that you don't hit your head on the ground. What it looks like sideways is that I'm taking the hip that is down, and I'm going to be rocking more towards the shoulder of the arm with the leg that's up, right? But first, before we're not going like over all the way. This first part is going to be rocking back, kick out two legs, tuck the opposite, and come back up. So you're just practicing switching your hips. So rock back, exhale, kick out two, tuck one, come back up. Good. And I'm really leaning into letting that leg drop all the way on the ground, right? So rock back, kick out two, tuck one, come back up. Good. And if you start having enough momentum where you feel yourself lifting up and moving forward, that's where you can push yourself up to one knee. Very good. Awesome. Okay. Good. Right. So in order to keep going with that momentum and push forward, I'm going to have you cut up and cut down. So as you're up, cut up, drop back, kick out two, tuck one, come back up, big cut up with your hands, right? So it's going to look up, drop back, kick out two, tuck one, up to one knee, big cut up with your hands. So notice the bottom leg is also bent underneath me sideways. There you go. Awesome. All right, next level, you drop back, kick out two, tuck one, come back up, push yourself all the way up to standing. Okay, drop that leg down. You can do this slowly, still drop down. You're gonna sit down behind the bent leg, sitting down behind it so that you can make your back touch the ground. So sit down behind that leg, kick out two, tuck one, come back up, all the way to standing. Tuck, drop back, kick out two, tuck one, up to standing. Drop back, kick out two, tuck one, up to standing. Very good. Drop back, kick out two, tuck one, up to standing. Good. All right. So next, I'm bringing you back down to the ground. Okay. So now if we've gone backwards, right? And if you were to complete, if this is my hip that is going down, I would be rocking over this shoulder. But again, that's not a first level offering, and that's not what has to happen today. Whenever we get to have you on the nice big mat space later, we'll do that later, right? But the idea of it is that I'm trying to protect my head and keep it to the side so that I'm drawing a diagonal line across my back. So what it would look like if you kept going from one side would be to go all the way over, right, to the opposite shoulder. So again, I just want you to have the piece of information it's connected to. Now we're going to do that. We're going to still put the shoulder down, but it's going to be from the forward position. So we went sideways, we went backwards, and now we're tilting the center equator of the sphere going forward, right? So now you're gonna come up to one knee up, one knee down with active toes underneath you. Your starting position is just going to be raising your center up, and then practice lowering your hip down, turning your thumbs down as well. Raise thumbs up, lift up. Lower down, raise up, lower down, raise up, lower down, raise up, lower down, raise up. As you lower down, same side as the foot that's down, drop that hand about a handprint away from the back of your foot, right? So that you're not in the same line here. You will really want to give it a little bit more support from the back, okay? Once you get here, use the extended leg and the back hand to help you press your hips up, look up towards the ceiling, stretch the top arm back, reach back. Good, drop your hip back down to your center first. So you're bent in that extended leg. Drop the top arm past your face towards the foot. Let the bottom arm trace the ground, make a big circle, then place the shoulder blade and the rib cage down. Look towards the extended foot or up towards the ceiling and press your arms away from each other. Take some big deep breaths into the floating ribs. Good. Okay. From there, start to lower your hip back to your ankle. Bottom arm swings across the ground. Always stays the bottom arm. It goes back to behind the foot. Top arm swings up and past the face. Big stretch back, reach back. Good, then lower the hip back down to the ankle. Top arm swings in front of the face and down. Good. Let the bottom arm follow so that your head is still in the middle of both arms. And then place the shoulder down, lift your hip up. And then press your hands away from each other. Okay, lower your hip back to your ankle. Bottom arm swings back to behind the foot first. And then top arm swings up and past your face. Lift your hips up. Big stretch back, reach back. Good, lower the hip back to the ankle. Okay. Do a couple at your own pace, y'all. Those are the Kim and Randall, what's up? Chris, you doing all right?
The last class you gave me a cue about stacking the shoulders during this. Can you say that again?
Absolutely, sure. Yeah. All right, so everybody take a break and find Cesar really quick because this is actually very valuable. So I want, first of all, just watch for a second first. So the idea of being able to move the shoulder blade onto my back is very, very important for any big stretch back position like this, right? And one of the most important parts of us doing this in the warm-ups for Aikido is that we're constantly arms forward in Aikido, right? We're constantly kind of like, and it's very easy to get very crunched up in the front. And so one of the things that we have to practice in the warm-ups is going the opposite directions, right? So for this, if your thumb is facing your foot, right, it's going to close down the front portion of your shoulder if your arm is bent the way that we normally do, you know, a lot of movements in Aikido. It's very strong towards the front. So for this, turn the thumb all the way to the outside, which is going to open the front of the shoulder, right? So just try that real quick. Just see the difference before you go any weight bearing here. Just rotating the shoulder out. You might feel like it gives you like a couple more, it gives you some leeway in here, right? It gets your shoulder blade further on the back. So if my hand is placed down, if my thumb is towards me and I try to lift up, I'm going to be blocked by certain muscle groups here. If my hand is rotated some out, And then I bring the floating ribs from the bottom out. I'm actually putting my rib cage on top of my shoulder blade to lift up here rather than closing off that group. I'm opening the front. So using the bottom of the ribs, I'm going to lift and then put my shoulders, stack my shoulders on top of my arm, and elbow, and wrist. So just see if that might help a little bit. So that I'm sure was it, what we were talking about, Kim. If you haven't switched sides yet, please switch sides. Chris, take a deep breath. This is only the second time you've done it. It's totally okay, right? So I'm gonna start from the beginning cues. So if you guys want to go at your own pace, that's fine, but I'm gonna take it step by step. Toes curled under. Turn the thumb all the way out, like you're dialing your hand out. Place it down behind your foot at like a diagonal angle so that you're not in the same line, but you're giving yourself some space to lean back. Now from here, this is where as you take that other leg out to the side, right? Now turn from those floating ribs on the bottom and lift your hip up. There you go. Now you can stretch back that top arm. Good, then lower your hip down first, swing the top arm past your face and allow that bottom arm to follow it. And as your shoulder goes down, lift your hip up and then separate your arms.
I got my shoulders confused.
That's okay. Come on, internet. There we go. Okay. Sorry, you guys froze up for a second. Go ahead. So a word of encouragement, one of the most important pieces of this practice that I've ever found is that it doesn't matter how well I do at one of these things on any given day, I will guaranteed be confused again and do it wrong. And everybody on this screen right now is gonna laugh and agree with me because that is why we show up all the time, because there is no, I'm done with this. And that doesn't matter if you're a 7th degree black belt, because that's why we and we train with each other, because there's that much humility in this practice, right? You got to just keep showing up, try to make the shape. You're aiming for the shape, but knowing that there's going to be things that are confusing. That's whenever you're learning, okay? So don't let it get in your way as a roadblock. That means that you're learning. You're taking in new information. As long as you feel like you're not putting yourself in a harmful position, right? We've got more classes. We can do this again another day. We've already gotten in, we've done an extensive amount of warm-ups too. So if, Chris, do you feel like you at least feel balanced on both sides for right now as far as warm-ups go? Okay. Did you get enough chance to do it on the second side? Switch your legs out and do it on the second side. There you go, right? So you got your toes curled under, one hand down, big stretch up, drop your hip back down, top arm swings past your face, bottom arm swings down, then let your shoulder go really close to that knee. Drop that shoulder really close to that knee in front. So the shoulder is going to go right next to the knee in front, and press your arms away. Okay, so everybody drop back into this position first. Okay, if we're here and you roll into this shape, you're in the same position. right? If you stand up from here, your knees are in the same shape. You're now in Hanmi again, right? So in the practice of similar shapes, which is Aikido, right? You are going to be in this position over and over and over, whether you're up, down, here, or on the ground, okay? So stay standing. We're gonna go through all of these, the category of body movements of entering, moving back and offline, switching directions. They're all in a category called Taisabaki, right? So the first one we'll work on is moving forward. This is entering into something that is approaching. You are moving into the space. The idea of to enter without fear of death, as what Sensei says, right? You're moving in without shrinking up your space like this, but rather you're extending your arms out. So you've got this shape here where your arms are, I'm gonna bring my hands closer together. The Teikatana is pushing the bottom of your hand out. And the idea here is that you have a gentle bend in your arm and that you're not totally straight and you're not super crunched up, but you're extending across the bottom pinky side edge of your wrist, right? So as you move forward and offline, this is going to be covering you and taking up more space. So everything that's within here is still more space that you're taking up. So as you slide forward, front foot is followed by the back foot. So instead of staying on the line of attack here, I'm sliding forward and offline, front foot followed by the back foot. And I'm going to make sure that this space stays mine because I'm moving my arms up and then cutting them down. And then slide back. So slide forward, cut up, cut down. Good. And slide back. Slide forward, cut up, cut down. Slide back. Okay. Slide forward, cut up, cut down. Good. Slide back. Slide forward, cut up, cut down. Good. Slide back. Now step forward and then turn the back leg sideways. So now you're in the opposite Hanmi. Okay, Hanmi half stance. Sliding forward and offline. Slide forward, offline. Slide back. Okay, I'm going to give you the term for this. This is irimi. Slide forward, irimi. Cut up, cut down. Slide back. Slide forward, irimi. Cut up, cut down. Slide back. Slide forward, irimi. Cut up, cut down. Slide back. Good. So your hands are moving up and down in this position because if you were working with a partner, if they were attacking with a forward attack like this, you would be grabbing and catching the elbow right here and right here with both hands, right? You would be moving the elbow up and down. So in essence, it would be caught 1 and 2, and the person attacking would be turned over like this. Turned over like this. Your hands would be here, which is where you're holding them in this position here. It is very, very difficult to press up with your arm if it's rotated down in this position. So again, just to give you the reality of what this is looking like. This is something approaching and you are protecting your space and then moving the elbow up and down. You're catching the elbow, taking the person offline, and cutting it down, right? So their body is next to you, the hand is out to the side. Couple more, slide forward, cut up, cut down. Good, slide back. Slide forward, cut up, cut down. All right, so from here, to finish the technique, we would be here. We wouldn't want to slide back because that would give them an opportunity to turn around and attack, right? So we need to get them to the ground safely. Right here, you've got them in front of your hips. You're going to step out underneath where they would be right here. So you're stepping underneath where their torso is to knock their weight forward. So from here, your back foot goes kind of out to a diagonal, out. Good, so that's a step irimi. It's still moving forward. Your hands are right in front of your hips, right in front of your hip points, yes. And the last one would be to move out and offline. So at this point, the person that you're grabbing, you have them here, and you're gonna slide out where I have no balance to hold on to. So your last movement is one more step irimi. At this point, the uke is all the way out like this. You put your back knee down, front knee down, right? So back knee down, front knee down, lower both hands down, big exhale, get heavy, center your weight. Yes. There you go. So from here, sliding forward, cut up, cut down. Good. Steppy-reamy, steppy-reamy. Back knee down, front knee down. Lower both hands down, center your weight, big exhale, get heavy. Okay, again, so this is an attack coming towards the head, right? This could be a beer bottle, this could be whatever, it doesn't matter. This is just a strike that's coming down from the top midline, straight on the center. So you're catching it as you're moving offline, step forward, slide forward, cut up, cut down. Steppy-reamy, back knee down, front knee down. And this would be your pin. You roll the elbow forward, get heavy, and breathe out. Good. Okay, other side. Oh, I did. Okay. All right. All right, other side. Slide forward, cut up, cut down. Good. Steppy-reamy, back knee down, front knee down. Roll the elbow forward as you breathe out, right? And so I am getting my hips as close down to my ankles as possible to breathe out and then rolling the elbow forward, okay? So the next one, just the footwork. This is going to be a moving in and then turning in a circle to redirect. The idea with that is, put your arms out to the side. If you can see this range of motion right here, right, your peripheral vision, but you have some other people behind you you need to pay attention to, then you need to be able to change directions to see what's happening behind you. So in essence, we're going to utilize the step forward cut up this time. Instead of sliding offline, this time we're going to step forward, cut up, pivot. Good. Now sliding the front leg back as you cut your hands down to your hips. Again, step forward, cut up, pivot. Good. Slide back, cut your hands down to your hips. Good. Step forward, cut up, pivot. Slide back, cut down. Good. Step forward, cut up, pivot. Slide back, cut down. Good. So this time, pick a direction where you have extra room to travel, because we're going to add on an extra piece. From here, step forward, cut up. Good. Pivot. Slide back, cut your hands down to your waist. From here, one more pivot with your hands still in front of your hips. And now back knee down, front knee down, lower the hands down, get heavy and pin. Okay? Starting over, step forward, cut up, pivot, slide back, cut the hands down to the hips. Good. One more pivot. Keep your hands in front of your hips. Good. Now back knee down, front knee down, lower the hands down and exhale. Good. So take a seat and pause for a second. If you guys need to get water or anything, that's totally fine. So the very first Aikido book that I ever got was this. Okay, Chris, I highly recommend this. It's Aikido in the Dynamic Sphere. All right, one of the coolest things about this book, besides all of its technicality, is directional drawings. Where you can see the motion, you can see the body movement, you can see the weight shift, and then you can see where all of your pivots are, and all of the things that we were doing. So we just went through a range of motion that was very similar to what you see here. Okay, right here, put the back knee down, front knee down, and then there's your pin, rolling the elbow forward and away. Right there was the cut up. That, all of those, see, it starts from there with the strike forward, cutting up to catch the elbow. This is your step forward, cut up, and then it moves into the Irimi Tenkan, where you step back, slide your front foot back, right? And then that's your last pivot right there, where you're actually trapping the elbow and then making their whole body turn to the outside, and then you take them to the pin. So in a time like this, where we're going to be doing mostly self, practice, this would be something that would be really interesting to look at. And I encourage all of you, if it's been a while since you looked at this, and it's been a long time since you've gotten a chance to work with partners, right? So maybe it's a good time for you to get these books out and start thinking about what we're doing in space a little bit more, because, we will go back to partner practice. And thinking about doing a million Irimi Tenkans by yourself is one thing, but being able to make sure that not only are you thinking about where you're at in space within your body, but paying attention to what the reality of your surroundings would be, of why these movements exist in the first place. It has to be an essential part of the practice, right? So for that position, we were entering over and over and over, entering on going forward, right? Forward and in, and making the person. The second one would be they attack, and you take this step tenkan and you make them go to the outside and down. Right? So they attack, I'm coming in forward, you would take the elbow, and then my hand would go behind me. That's your Irimi Tenkan, right? The step forward, cut up, slide back, cut down. One extra pivot, back knee down, front knee down, pin. So it's just really important for you to have a visual on why you're doing this stuff in the first place, right? Okay, so moving on. We're gonna do, the idea with this next piece is moving from your center and trying to take up more space. But the attack would be, I want you to think about that you have somebody coming up behind you and grabbing onto your shoulders, right? We're trying to pull you backwards. And the idea with that is that forward motion in every place where we can see is not just the space that we have to take up. We have to be mindful of what's going on behind us all the time. And the beauty of having all of these movements where we can see in different directions is we need to practice them over and over, because they'll be there when you need them, right? So if everybody stands up with me, so I don't want you to sit down for too long. Okay. So the idea with this is something is coming forward or coming up behind you and grabbing onto both shoulders. And what I don't want to have happen, because I'm a smaller person, right? I could easily get picked up and thrown into the back of a truck. Not interested in that. I need to be practicing getting grounded and taking up more space. And the way that we learn how to ground and get our center closer to the ground is actually going right back into that same position of pinkies out, right? Take a ton of down, unbendable arm, right? So even here, even though your arms are moving forward, try to keep this space in front of your heart open, right? So it's letting your arms turn without closing up. So from here, it's really opening through the collarbones. So when you bend your knees and go, right? This would be a lot harder if somebody comes up behind you and they try to move you off your balance. You are really, really stable in this position, right? And so the idea of, being able to be in this shape and not be pushed backwards is essential for this part. Now you're going to use that same shape, and this would be, now you're going to have to use your imagination on this one, right? So now you're standing in Han Ni, so you're sideways. This is not just somebody walking up from behind you where you can't see them and you need to be able to brace yourself and move forward. This time you see them coming, but they're trying to run up, grab one shoulder, and then grab the other shoulder and get behind you and pull you backwards, right? So again, the attack is trying to aim for one shoulder, and then they're trying to run behind me to grab the second shoulder, right? So if you're watching them approach, you offer the front shoulder for Aikido practice, not in real life, right? But they're grabbing the front shoulder. You're gonna slide your front foot to the back leg, still keeping that shape where your arms are in that gentle bend, and then take the second step forward, right? So this is going to be sliding the front foot to the back, and then turning your whole body, left, left, right, right, step forward and turn, right, good. Again, they're approaching, they're grabbing on here, and instead of letting them get the second hand attached and pull you backwards, you're taking their momentum and making them follow you forward. Okay, so slide front foot to back foot, step forward with the second side. Good. Now switch sides, do this side. Slide front foot to back foot. Now notice my arms are not going behind me. I do not want to let them get my arms behind me. I want to keep my arms rounded in front the whole time. So once you slide the front foot back, second side, everything shifts forward. Good, slide front foot to back foot. Second side, everything shifts forward. Good. All right, so everybody, stop looking at your feet. Okay? You have a whole world out here that needs you to pay attention to what's going on. Trust the shape of your skeleton, move your body, but keep your vision on the horizon, because that's going to be where you're going to be able to keep yourself safe. You cannot be blind to the information around you. Okay? The timing of their approach, slide your front foot to the back foot, step forward with the second side. Good. All right? So that we'll skip and come back to that. The next one, we're going to be, I'm just trying to give you ranges of motion, ranges of position and motion based on incoming information, right? This time it would be as if something is moving into your space, directional into your space. It's moving into your space. I don't want to be here by the time it gets here. I want to move myself offline. So my back foot is going to move not just to the side, but I need it to move offline and back, right? So I'm moving offline and back. Front foot slides back, clear path. Okay, this is your tension. I don't want to be here whenever it gets here, but I want to watch that timing and make sure that I move my foot offline first and slide back, clear path. Good. The extra piece is you have to follow it with your eyes, because if you only step offline and clear path, you've just left whatever was attacking you get behind you where you're not looking at it or paying attention, right? So your next piece of this is going to be slide your back foot offline, slide the front foot back, clear path, pivot and watch where it's going. Again, slide your back foot offline, slide the front foot back, cut back, pivot and watch where it's going. Okay, step offline first. Step offline first with that back foot. Step offline with the back foot first. That's the most important part, is stepping offline with that back foot, because if you just slide back, you're just going to drag it into your space, right? I'm just going to drag it straight into my space and it's going to knock me over. So I need to get my whole body off of this entire line of attack by moving the back leg offline first. And for today's practice, this can be very exaggerated, right? Get that back foot off of this center line so that you can slide the front leg back and clear a whole path. So Chris, take your foot the other direction, the back foot first, okay? I'm gonna bring this down, we're gonna break it down, because this is an extremely important movement, right? So I got my back foot sideways, front foot forward, you can see my toes. My back foot needs to move forward and offline, okay? There's other techniques where it's gonna go behind me, but for this one, I need to move it forward and offline. So if I'm facing this way, I'm gonna take my back foot forward towards you and then clear path. And then watch where it's going. Yes, 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 yes. That is it. That is it. Right? And you can even play with this type of movement as somebody's like approaching you from the grocery store aisle and their cart is too close to you. Right? That's the type of practical things where you can be practicing this. You're like, oh, that dude's not 6 feet away from me, right? Back foot offline, front foot slides back, clear path. Make sure you switch sides, please, if you haven't yet. All right, good. Okay. So for this last little part, I'm just going to premise this with, if any of this gets confusing, Chris, like if I'm going too fast for any of this stuff, just know that I'm going to amp it up just a little bit for this last little 20 minutes. And if you feel like you just want to sit and watch and take in the information, that's fine. There's no expectation of you like mastering this today. But we're just going to switch it up a little bit so that you see what we move into with other parts of the practice. But you're welcome to try as much as you want to. But like I said, I just want you to know that ahead of time. And if we were on the mat, I'd be saying the same exact thing. Okay? All right. Randall, I'm putting this in your hands, man. Because I know that you've been sitting there thinking about Shodan. What's in your brain?
Well, the Tenshin movement went right into Shiho Nage. I mean, especially with that last pivot there. But as far as a broader understanding of things that we're doing, is that what you're getting at?
Well, I was giving you the option if you had any specific techniques like you have had in the past where you were like Katatori Minuch and that type of stuff. And if you don't, I'm going to keep going doing what I'm already doing. Or we can move, I can ask Kim or Steve if you guys have anything that you've been thinking about. You guys are so generous. You're like, we're just happy to be here.
Yeah.
I'm happy you're here too, right? Why don't we I know what we'll do. We're just going to build on what we've already been doing and we'll take it a little bit to the side, but or a little bit more broad explanation of what we're doing as well. Okay, so mixing in what we did earlier, we've actually done 2 full techniques where we moved into capturing the elbow, moving into the body weight, down, down, and all the way to the pin. That was from an attack coming down straight from the forehead, right? This would be the same thing as a sword cut. And a lot of the traditional techniques for the attacks in Aikido come from the battlefield with the sword. right? Or so then they get adapted. And depending on your teacher, some people teach with a little bit more of like a, you know, street fighting or a little bit more background from other different martial arts, and it might get mixed. But on the purest teaching, your attacks are going to be straight from the forehead down. So the Tekatana right here would be hitting right on the hairline. It would be approaching forward and cutting down. Approaching forward and cutting down. The next would be a sword strike that would cut right at the neck, right? Jugular vein, carotid artery, slice you in half that way. This is coming from the backhand, back foot, cutting sideways, right? So a lot of times whenever this cut sideways is happening, that's where you will meet that cut sideways with a 10 shin and do something with it, because you will catch that motion and keep the uke moving wherever. I'll refer to uke as being the person that's the attacker. The person that's receiving the attack is in the role of the nage, right? So nage is not initiating in open hand movement. Aggressive Aikido is two people staring at each other. Okay? So that is where the idea of this being a defensive martial art comes from, is that you're not learning the strikes as your options for attacking somebody like to go hurt them. What you're offering your partner by learning the attacks and learning how to take the falls is you're giving them an authentic amount of real risk that they have to deal with. And then it becomes your job as the nage to not only defend yourself by getting off the line of attack, but also making sure that you put your partner in a position where they're going to be able to take their fall, roll out of it, and get up and attack you again. And you know, this is something that we repeatedly say thank you for, right? And so and then 4 times I throw you, 4 times you throw me. It goes back and forth, and it's cooperative training. But you're meeting every single one of these situations with saying, how can I find the highest benefit and the highest good of like suspension of love and violence at the same time with the partnership that you're working with, right? And then you work with partners one-on-one for lots and lots and lots and lots of times. And then eventually the partner practice turns into practice with multiple attackers. When you practice with multiple attackers, it doesn't wait. I know in our dojo, it doesn't wait until you're like almost black belt to work with multiple attackers. We start that very early on. We started in the kids' classes, right? Doesn't mean that you're going to be doing all the most crazy techniques, but it does mean that you teach movement. Number 1, you teach movement. Don't be on the line of attack whenever that attack gets there. So all of the things that you're doing right now, the movement forward, the movement back and offline, the reposition with the pivot, slide the front foot back. If your entire focus is on being able to use all of those techniques whenever you see information coming towards you from all sides, what you're ultimately working towards is to be able to have the flexibility to move between all of those movements based on what's actually happening in front of you. Not saying, oh, well, wait, can you switch your feet and attack me the other way, right? Because once you have multiple attackers and you're doing freestyle, you just have to be ready to move. You have to be ready to you're practicing, not shrinking your space. You're practicing taking up space and owning that space the whole time, right? So even if that's your own practice, the most practice that we can do right now from home for like months, I can't help but find the value in it, right? So thinking about it that way. If you guys want to stand up, we'll just do another entry, right? Rather than moving Irimi where we went in and then cutting down. We're going to move in Irimi, but then we're going to turn it into a 10 shin. So the attacker, the information coming towards you is not just on your center line this time. It's approaching from the side, right? And so the timing of you moving has to be based on that the information isn't coming forward this way, but it's on this side, right? And so number one, we're going to move as soon as we see that strike lift up, right? It lifts up. Your motion is going to be guard your center line, back foot moves offline, front foot slides back, both hands stay in front of you. Again, as soon as you see that cut up where that step is coming towards you, you are going to keep your hands up in front, slide the back foot offline. As soon as that hand gets to be in front of you, cut it down right in front of your center. Okay? Again, that hand, both hands are coming up. Back foot moves offline first. Front foot slides back. Both hands cut down in front of your center. Right. And then you will finish that with a little bit more, keeping your hands right here. Turn your hips just a little bit more. Yes. So it becomes taking the dynamic motion. If I'm coming towards you like this, right now you're going to step back foot offline, front foot slides back, two hands cut in front of your center, and a little bit more of a twist. And now I'm turned totally sideways. Okay? So again, you see the hand raise up, I'm attacking, slide the back foot offline, front foot slides back, you get both hands in your grip, one more twist, and then you want my shoulder to be exposed here. Switch feet if you haven't yet. As soon as you see that hand lift up, you're going to meet it without going sideways. So the idea here is, everybody stop for 1 second. Your tension is going to end up looking like this. Cut up, back foot moves, right? Back foot moves and cut up. Slide the front foot back, cut down. And then just practice going back and forth with that just for a minute. Hands cut up, back foot moves, front foot slides back, hands cut down. Back foot moves, hands cut up. Good. Again. Up. Cut. Up. Cut. So it almost looks like that Arimi Tenkan, but it's not. It's just a little bit more condensed. So up and back. Up and back, up, back, up, back, up, back, up, back, up, back, up, and back. All right, so again, backhand, as soon as you see Uke starting to approach, cutting, this is where your hands are meeting this wrist up in the air. You slide that front foot back, cut your hands down to the waist, and then turn just a little bit more, which is going to take me further offline. Okay, just so this isn't startling, if we were on the mat, I would clap once and everybody would sit down. That's your cue for watching something. Kim and Randall, if I spotlight you, will you demonstrate this for a minute?
Hi.
Go for it. Other side, please. Thank you. Okay. One more time. One more time. Just go slow, right? So the backhand raises. Good. And then that little twist at the end, hold on to it for one more second and slide it even further across the center. Up, down. Good. So Kim, from there, straighten out your back, drop your hands closer to your center, and then cut your hands even further across that front knee. Yes, look how much further he is off balance. All right, to finish the technique from there, right? Bring your hands down first, closer to your leg before you take the step. Extend her across your center. Good, all the way across, good. Now, right? You don't have to take the fall, that's fine, okay? But that's the direction. See, they're lucky because, so, all right, one more. Now, pause, pause, pause. From there, straighten up your back and bring your hands closer in front of your center. Now slide her arm further in front of your front knee. Turn at your hips, yes. Now when you step forward and cut up, bring it right in front of your forehead. Okay. All right, thank you guys. Very cool. Okay. So those extra pieces, like where you saw how once that arm was extended, if the person cuts this up, it ends up taking their arm up in the air and the hand going behind. There's always a beginning, a middle, like telling the story, what's happening in between, and then it either ends the technique in a throw, where you put them in a position to be able to take the fall, or they go down into some sort of a pin where it's a control, right? Just to give you the end of that, of what we were looking at right there. So I'm gonna have everybody meet me for some just cool down stretching. So just drop onto your backs. Okay. So rock onto your back, drag your feet towards your hips. Separate your feet a little bit further than hips distance and just let both knees drop to one side. Let both of your arms move out from your shoulders. If you want a little bit more stretch, you can take the front ankle and put it on top of the back knee. If you have your ankle stacked, drop it back down. Lift both your knees up and drop onto the other side. Inhale, come all the way back through center. And just let one leg kick out straight and drop it down. Lift the other knee all the way up. Actually, let's all do the same leg so that I can tell you exactly the same one. So straighten out your left leg and lift your right knee. Put your right foot on the ground. And then bring your right knee towards your right shoulder. Wrap both hands around the front of your knee and hug it into your chest. Then take your left hand onto the outside of your the outside of your right knee. Put your right arm straight out to the side and then slowly start to twist the right leg towards the left shoulder. And bring the right leg back to your right shoulder. Hug it in with both hands one more time. Kick it down. Lift your left shoulder towards the left knee towards the left shoulder. Wrap both arms around the knee and hug it in. Take your right hand to the front of the left knee. Put your left arm all the way out to the side. Slowly start to twist and let the left leg go towards the right shoulder. And gently rock back, bring the left shoulder back to, or the left leg back to the left shoulder. Hug it in one more. Lift your hips up, take your hands behind your hips and just push your hips down one more place. Lower your hips back down, let your arms roll to the side, palms up to the ceiling. Relax your legs. Close your eyes for 1 second. Start to make some circles with your ankles and your wrists. Maybe stretch your arms out to the side or above your head. Then put your feet back down on the ground, lift your knees up, rock both of them over to the right side, and then push yourself up to a seat. So at the end of class, we would all be sitting in seiza and we would line up in front of the camisa. And everybody just sits in seiza one more time. Hands on knees, back straight, face front. Domo arigatou gozaimashita. Okay. Minasan, arigatou gozaimashita. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You.
Thank you, Chris.
Yep,
Welcome
thank you.
back. Thank you, Robert. All right, everybody have a great night.
Have a great
You
weekend.
too.
You too. Thanks, guys.
Jeez. Cats.
What's Brian doing?
Oh, no. Brian's over there.
Tommy's
Tommy's
in
at the window. So,
Tommy wants to do Aikido.
yeah, and he's using my screen as a scratching post right now.
Oh, nice. Okay. All right. Thanks, man.
Yeah, you too.
All right. Have a good night.